Did you move my truck?
Everything from overlanding in your stock rig to full-on LS-powered 2 buggies on stickies. This is the Total Offroad Podcast. I'm Steve Summers.
And I'm Ian Boyce, and we are here in the studio.
And we are having some guests today. We've got Shane Noss.
Hey, fellas.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
And we have Matt Hayes.
Howdy.
Matt's pictures himself.
Yep. Live and in person.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, it's episode 5.
Episode 5. We
Already.
made it a couple in the
That's not bad.
tank,
Yeah.
I guess.
I just want to say thanks for letting me in on the ground floor of this podcast, even though, I'm not a super big proponent for the off-road world. I have my moments, but I do appreciate
We got
this.
some good stories.
right.
We're going to talk about some
yeah.
good stories, though.
Yeah.
We got
These-
a lot of good times coming.
These two guys may not have off-road rigs, but these two guys are like
They're always
ride
there.
or die.
Yep, they're
Like,
always
we're
there.
on four-wheel. Oh, well, so are we here. You got a seat for me, right?
And just a little backstory, like you guys are both part of the, we've met, we kind of talked about that in my intro episode a little bit about how we started the whole Badlands off-road over, going over in Attica, Indiana with the Badlands. You guys were with the whole FSC Midwest crew.
Yeah, OGs.
Yep, back in the day. So that's how we kind of all met. We kind of all met with that. And it's kind of evolved into you guys usually show up and do some wheeling trips. I'll have to post a picture of the boot again because that was Matt's boot. The boot, the burning
boot in
boot.
the fire.
That is
Yeah.
Matt's boot. That is live. We have the
You can
boot
put that
owner
on,
today.
You can put it on the story the day of the launch.
I'll do that.
It's
Yep.
published.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, because we've already got it in the
Because it's already
podcast.
posted. Yeah, it was posted back in the earlier podcast, but that's Matt's boot.
It was a sad time for that
He's
boot.
still upset about it.
He's got a nice set of replacement boots on right now.
And he's still upset about it.
Is he?
Yeah, who
Yeah.
burns a boot?
Who burnt the boot? So wait, were these boots you were like actually using still?
I was wearing them until I
I
wasn't.
thought like something was wrong with the boot, and that's why you just burned it.
I think what actually happened.
Get in there.
So Derek, who was on episode 3, I used to park my truck in front of his apartment in college, and I had my 2 steel toes in the bed of the truck. And I came out one day, and I was missing a steel toe. So we go to the Badlands. This is in March of 2010. It was probably one of the first trips everybody went over on. And the day had winded down. Everybody got done wheeling, sitting around by a fire, and somebody who honestly I don't know. I don't know if Shane was there. I don't know if
Somebody
Ian was
probably
there.
came up with the idea, but
Was it
like
2010?
nobody's going to
Yeah.
turn it down.
I was at the...
To burn
I'm sorry.
the boot?
I was there, but I was so blacked out drunk, I don't remember anything.
Good. Well, it might have been you then. But somebody strolled over to the back of my pickup. I had a half-ton GMT 400 two-wheel drive just parked in the parking lot at the campsite. And they came back with a boot and threw it in the fire. Now, I didn't see all this happen until I realized that my boot was no longer in the back of my truck. And it was on fire.
It was like really on fire. It wasn't singed. That boot was fucking burnt at this
On
point.
flambe.
And he's
In
like,
fuego.
"Oh, that's my boot. That is my holy what the oh." At this point, it's done. At this point, the boot is fucked. It's all
done.
is gone. Didn't have the other one anyway, so I don't know why you're so upset
This was
about
before
it.
my time. I wasn't around for
Oh
that.
God,
I was like
great.
20 beers deep in like a span of an hour and 20 minutes, so I don't remember.
He didn't know. He didn't know shit about the boot.
Mike didn't know we were
Nothing.
racing, but I was definitely beating him. It was whoever finished their half of the 30-pack first, he had to refund the other guy that half of the 30. But I don't think Mike was fully aware because I was like 20 deep, and then he was like, I think I remember it like beer 16. Okay, so you already beat me, so you don't have to keep drinking. And then as I was downing number like 18 or 19, I was like, I'm starting to feel this. I'm like, oh boy. I set the beer down and I walked a couple campsites down, and then I remember waking up probably 3 times to people patting me on the back, and then finally going to bed at like 5 in the morning.
I remember you were on the picnic table a couple sites down, and we had like it was almost like a rotation, like drink beer, get beer, check on Shane, drink beer, get beer, check on Shane. It was a rotation of hey, go make sure he's not dead. No, he's just sleeping on the picnic table. It's
Yeah,
good.
that next morning I was like, man, you guys are ignorant. You didn't even come and check on me.
Oh, we did. Yeah, we did a lot. He just didn't know. So that kind of speaking of beer,
Yeah.
what are we drinking today?
Ooh, we've got some Founders, and it is the highly acclaimed KBS, a flavored stout espresso.
Founders Brewing Company.
I'm literally reading the bottle.
We know.
That's fine.
But that's what it is.
They
It's
can
KBS. It's KBS Espresso, and it is fantastic.
12%.
Is it barrel aged? Yes,
Yep,
of course
it is.
I was like, I don't see it on there, but yes, it's up in the corner.
Yep, 12%.
What's it barrel aged in? Does it say
Bourbon barrels.
Bourbon.
Bourbon barrels, and then the espresso. It's a slight variation of the regular KBS, but they throw a little espresso on it after it comes out of the barrels.
So they
So
literally.
it's got extra. That's
So
why
it's
you get a
coffee and
definite
coffee.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah,
sounds
it-
good to me. I love
It is
coffee.
good. That's the
love
first
coffee
time I've had
flavor.
it. It's
I'm not a
tasty.
super big like craft beer fan, but this is pretty good, and I can actually taste like you get that barrel flavor. It's not like overpowering or something that kind of off-putting, but
Wait,
it's pretty good. And I don't do beer.
you're not a craft beer fan?
No, I mean
Why
I
is
don't
he
drink
here?
much.
Our
in
vetting
general.
process
Wait,
is
hold on,
not
hold
big
on.
Yeah, you
yet.
guys didn't do your
Doesn't
research
have
on
a
me
four-
before.
Has a 4-wheel drive, but it's lowered. Doesn't do off road and doesn't like. I don't see how you
It's not
made
that I
it on
don't
here.
do off road. It's just that I don't personally do the off road. I go and do the off road.
It's a good thing you got a beautiful face. Otherwise, you'd be out.
Right. The audience can't see, but I have a glorious beard.
That
He has
beard.
got
Oh.
the face for TV. Why
Oh,
you're
yeah.
on a podcast, I don't know. That's why
Yeah.
we do
Right.
a podcast, because we're
Well,
not
that's why
built
I'm
for
here. This is the
TV.
jumping off point. You guys are going to start
Yes.
your own podcast
Yep.
and video series.
If he was into
Ooh,
sports,
yeah.
he could be a sportscaster in a heartbeat.
You're going to launch our YouTube page into
Yeah, let's do
new
that.
horizons.
Let's do that.
But no, this beer is bottled on 11/14/2019, so it's pretty damn fresh. I don't know when it came out,
11/14.
but it says bottled on 11/14/19.
Yeah, it's not too bad. What's it, a month and some change? No,
Yeah.
almost not quite 2 months.
Pretty good.
If that was a Bud Light, that'd be the garbage.
Yep.
Oh, past its expiration
Whoever
date.
bought a Bud Light is kicked out of the podcast. That is, you cannot drink beer, but if you drink Bud Light,
I just remember being when we were like 21, 22, like younger days, and drinking Bud Light at the bar and stuff like that. Everybody like looking underneath their can or their bottle, like, when was this bought? Oh man, God, it was canned 5 days ago.
Yes.
Let's be serious,
it's the
though.
best.
If they were seeing that and it said it was bottled
Canned.
a year ago, they're still like, man, that's upsetting. Keep on drinking.
It's still
Yeah.
it was garbage when it got in the can. It's still garbage.
No one threw their Bud Light away because it was like 6 days old. You
Yeah,
no,
no,
you drank that
no,
shit.
no,
anyway.
yeah, no. But like that was the thing. Like everybody read like, how old is this?
They didn't wasn't Anheuser-Busch the one that did the like freshness date where you could like, it was like an app on your phone or you could
really?
scan it or
Scan a
something like
QR
that.
code or
Yeah.
something.
What?
See when
I
your
didn't
beer
know.
was born. Your born on date or some shit like that. Yep.
I will say, I don't like. I used to drink Bud Light like exclusively,
Uh-huh.
and then
You saw the light.
I didn't see light. I
Ew.
actually switched off of beer and switched to wine.
I don't do
I
wine.
love dry reds, that smokiness,
Not a
and
fan.
which leads into why I love barrel aged beers so much because I just love that. I don't know, that heavy flavor. So I did that, and then you ruined my life and introduced me to craft beer with Mike So Funny.
Well, I do remember one of the first times we took you to Benny's on like a craft beer run.
Yeah.
And there was,
I was
a
like, what is
shopping
this?
cart, like
Oh
a
my
shopping
God.
cart of craft beer. Like there wasn't, I don't even know how to explain that other than
wasn't
to
gonna turn it down.
emphasize again, it was a shopping cart
Literally.
of craft beer, not a shopping cart of like 30 racks of Busch Light craft beer.
Full.
And I believe it might not have been the first time. Was that when your driver's license was expired? And then we're standing in the checkout at Benny's with a shopping cart of craft beer, and we go, so who's gonna buy this for me? And
who
it's
bought
like,
that? Was it
I
you or
bought
Mike?
it for
You
you,
bought
and
it.
you paid me back for it.
It was $80 in craft beer.
But they didn't sell it because they couldn't sell it to you because your ID was expired by
Yeah.
like a day, and you're like, oh, by the way,
So they had like
my
60
job,
beers?
yeah,
Or 20 beers? How many beers do you get for $80?
5.
Right.
yeah, craft beer,
Ian, so
yeah.
Ian just spent $20 on 4 beers.
Yep.
Yeah.
The catch is,
For
when-
80, you get 5.
But really, 12% is what? Is that 6 Bud Lights? 5.5?
3.
It's
Well, we never
it's
claimed
not
to be
it's not
public
ounces
school
per
math.
dollar, it's flavors per dollar.
Smiles per gallon.
No, none of those.
Well, the other thing with Steve, though, he really has a problem just easing into things, and it's never, well, let me just try this one thing and see what happens. It's, well, I went
look,
off-roading in
100%.
a ditch one time, and now I'm going to put tons under my Cherokee.
The problem is with beer, it's not just beer. Like, you can go with a barrel age, you can go with an IPA. There's so many different routes you can take, and you want to explore all the paths of beer.
I describe it as soda. It's the same as buying like pop. Like you have all the flavors. It's not just lager, and lager.
Yep.
It's like it's. There's tons of it. You can do whatever you want. Porters, stouts, IPAs.
Mood dependence. That's the
Pale
problem.
ales,
Like, I'm
brown
feeling
ales.
this today.
Like
Yep.
it's just, yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely mood dependent. Yeah. Mood dependent, climate dependent, big time. Yeah. Some days I'm just like, I need an IPA because it's hot.
Yep.
And I need something to drink. I keep Miller Lite in my fridge because some days I just need to drink something.
I've got a second beer fridge. I've got a one glass front beer fridge that's all lined out. Like every label is turned the right way.
Oh,
and then I have another beer fridge that is covered in off-road stickers. The Bush Light goes in there.
Once we get to like 10 or 12 podcasts and this is actually a real thing, we're going to like cut a hole in the wall here, French the beer fridge into the wall.
Yep.
There you go.
I thought you were going to say you have a viewing window. That
Catherine
way
was
when
on
Catherine
board.
comes
He
home,
was
she
like,
can...
Yeah, it's bad when your wife's like, cut a hole in the wall and put the fridge there. She's got plans for where the fridge is what that means.
Oh, yeah.
She's going to buy something to fit there, yeah.
Hey, she's got a hutch in mind.
She's doing something out there because why else would she say cut a hole? Your wife does not give you the green light to cut a hole in the wall of your house
unless she's awesome.
She's got a plan.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'll give her credit. She is very good, but I don't know. I don't know. It's almost like too good to be true that your wife is telling you to cut a hole in the wall of your house.
She came up with the idea. And she's like, you guys should put the beer fridge in the podcast room. That way you have all your beers right there.
Yep.
I was like,
I'm not sure why this hasn't happened yet.
We should put it in the wall. And Ian's like, no. And she's like, that's not a bad idea. I'm like, oh.
We gotta let the paint dry on the walls before we cut the wall out.
Okay.
Yeah.
You might have done this in the wrong order.
Because here's the thing. If we do everything at once, then Ian can't keep changing the studio every episode.
Yep.
Right.
So those of you listening, Ian has this problem. I know we're only 5 episodes in. Problems. But one of the problems is that every episode, the studio has changed. Mm-hmm. And I don't mean
5 remodels and 5
I don't
episodes?
mean a little bit. I mean a lot.
Yep. New tables, new mics, new everything. Now, I think once we get the rest of the stuff to finish the table that we've got now, this should be done for a little while.
Okay.
Until we cut a hole in the wall for the beer fridge.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
kind of excited about that. I don't know. This room looks badass.
It looks better when we take selfies in here now.
I was thinking about it. I was thinking about the other night when I left and you had the shelves up on the ceiling. And I'm like, I don't know if that looks that good. And I walk back in with all the stuff on it. I'm like, that's amazing.
She picked out all the colors.
She nailed it.
Yep. That's why we keep her around.
You should dub some of your recordings for the podcast and have a video, and then if people wanted to watch the video of the podcast, maybe see some more shenanigans in studio, then they could see how awesome the room actually is.
Yep.
If you guys want to go watch our 4-hour YouTube episode,
the outtakes are worth it. That's the best part. That's the outtakes I want
like
to
to apologize to all grandmothers, parents, dinosaurs,
anyone
children.
who's easily offended, like not even that easily offended, like be prepared.
yeah. We need to,
if you have morals and standards, need not watch.
We'd like to preface this with.
If you like grab ass from grown ass men, you definitely need to watch this.
It's right up your alley.
We didn't record it this time. Sorry.
But we will.
It would have been good.
We could start doing that. It's kind of a neat little idea.
It's an option. Yeah.
Yep.
If you want to run the YouTube channel, that's fine. The editing.
So much work.
I don't know how to do it.
We'll get there.
Yeah, it might happen.
So, all right, on to the main stuff. We're going to talk a little bit, just kind of start it off. It doesn't really do a whole lot per se with off-roading. But it's very interesting to me. It's kind of neat to tell people kind of what you do, Shane.
He's a good storyteller too.
And I mean, I don't like to put too much pressure on a podium, if that makes sense. But like, oh, you're the best in the world. You want me to give
the full intro?
We'll get to it. I'll give you the full intro. I'll give you the little finger gun, and you just send it. But it's neat knowing someone who is so particular in what they do, and I would say is towards the top of the spectrum as far as quality. You know, it's not like some dude doing stuff in the back, parking lot of a rinky-dink place or something. So
on Hyundais.
So now
I'm gonna. It's funny because that's where I came from. I started detailing in the Hyundai
look at us. Look at us
right
now where we're at. So we're on episode 5. So I'm gonna finger gun Steve with he's got an awesome intro, and then we're gonna go and talk a little bit about what you do, and then we're gonna go into some stories.
Yeah.
Finger gun. I gotta say it because nobody sees it.
That's why you need to have live streams and dub the content.
Oh yeah.
I'd watch.
You guys ready?
I would watch it myself.
In the studio with us today is motherfucking Shane Noss, one of the best PPF guys in STL.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I don't want to sound too arrogant, but there's a reason, we get a lot of higher end clients is if I'm working on someone else's car, it's not just like another job. You want to make sure that it's up to your standards because everyone's going to want to nitpick, and even your critics and people who know you or don't like you, they're like, oh, well, let me look over this job. When you don't leave anyone anything to say bad about you, that's when you're doing it right.
That's how I feel about my polishing.
Yep.
Right.
And everybody's like, well, you're holding too high of a standard.
No.
You just need to make your customer happy. Like, that's all good until the next polisher comes up and looks at it.
I want to be
Right.
happy. Yep.
Yeah, I want the next polisher to walk up and be like, damn, that's impressive.
Especially when you're putting your name on it. I mean, you're
Yeah.
taking pride in your work and you're putting your name on it and you're saying, I'm putting out the best that I can do. Maybe it's not the best, but it's the best you can do. That's
Right.
the key.
When your haters have nothing to say bad about you other than they just don't like you,
That's-
that's
you've
the
done
best
something
way
right.
to it's the
Yep.
best way to silence your critics.
So what is PPF? Kind of give us a little backstory on what that is and explain exactly what it is and
Pecker protection film.
Packer Perfection.
Yeah,
That would have been good in the outtakes. That's what we mean by grandmas need not listen. It would have been great. We might do some spoof of it here sometime.
we should
Towards the end.
Towards
Yep.
the end. No, paint protection film, clear bra. I had everyone, guys at the dealerships call it, that plastic shit you put on the front of the cars. I mean, not it's because that doesn't
Yeah.
offend someone whose whole career
Yeah.
and whole life kind of revolves around putting quote unquote plastic shit on the
yep.
front of a car. Like, I'm sorry, you just stand at a desk and type in people's information and have actual mechanics work on people's shit. I don't tell the service writers that, but
Yeah.
so maybe I don't know. I'm just taking it too hard, but
Shane would also like to apologize to all service riders listening to the podcast.
yeah, no, I have a lot of my friends are service writers.
Yeah,
I'm just not trying to.
we know enough of them.
But you don't
ignorant,
go up and
but-
degrade them like that.
Right,
Yeah.
and that's
But either way.
yeah. So
When they don't know what it is, they got to come up with something to tell you. And you're like, yep, I know what you're talking about. It's that stuff.
You don't have to be an asshat about it though. Like you can
right,
just say,
but
like,
a lot of those
this shit I
service
don't know
writers,
about.
those guys work an insane amount of hours. Like
Oh, yeah.
people don't understand, but anyway, they're stressed. I'm not going to hold them too high. Pretty easygoing guys, so I'm not going to be too mad about it. But yeah, paint protection film, just clear polyurethane film. Put it on the front of cars, put it on whole cars, any painted surface. It's there to protect from rock chips, scratches. It's kind of you want to preserve your vehicle. Wrap the front end. It's kind of the main part that most everyone gets. Do the front end, full hood, fenders, bumper, mirrors. We wrap everything, all the edges. Kind of in layman's terms, I like to tell people it's kind of like a clear vinyl wrap. And it's just there to protect your investment. You're going to, the money you spend on doing the film, you're going to get that back when you trade the car in.
So something that I always think kind of neat, because I like give my buddy that does this, that, and the other, and you kind of try to give them cliff notes of like what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, I'm like, oh yeah, he works on all kinds of like high end stuff, like shit that like if I would see it, I'd be like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. And I think that's one of the funniest things that I can say is over the years, everybody's asked, what's your coolest car you've ever worked on? And you're like,
that question.
dude. And I love it. I love it every time somebody asks you, you get so mad because you're like, it's not the like couple $100,000 sports cars you would think. And I think I think that plays to who you are. And I think it's kind of neat.
Well,
That it's not even like, oh my God, I worked on this like $300,000 car today.
So I had this conversation with a friend of mine who runs a really big body shop in St. Louis, and it was funny. Him and his wife run the body shop, and me and him are staying in the shop, and we're pretty much talking shit on a super clean, low mileage version of a Lamborghini Murcielago, and it is just firecracker red, and it's a really good looking car. But there's certain areas where it's like, we were just ragging on this car, and the guy at the body shop was like, oh man, it's just like a glorified Ford, you got this and that. And
boy.
I'm like,
Man.
his wife's like, you guys are so jaded, you're so horrible. I'm like, we look at each other like, yeah, I guess we are jaded. Scott, someone who owns a body shop, and he's got blown 440 in his CUDA, like blower out the hood, big old slicks on the back. It's snot green. He's got a ton of cool
Snot
cars,
green.
a bunch of Harleys, sport, choppers. He has it all. And I'm not, I don't have it like that, but it is true. You work with some of these high end cars and stuff, and you get to a point where it's like they're not necessarily like, I don't want to sound rude because they're still special, and I still treat them like they are special because our customers, well, your customers, I mean, without the support of your customers and them thinking that, you know, you do treat their cars like you would treat your own, I mean, you don't have anything if your customers don't believe in you. So I do treat everything, you know, like it's mine.
You respect it. I think that's what it is. You respect what it is, but it's you. I mean,
I don't get as excited about.
You see the same thing every day. I mean, you see high end, awesome ass. To me, it's like, oh my god, that car is so badass. But I mean, when you work on that all the time,
right? Like Porsche GT3, for example, I've done probably hundreds, and so it's a point where everyone's like, oh man, this car is so awesome. And I will say this, driving the cars and like when our customers do let us take them to shows or, you know, they have track days, that's when you really enjoy the car.
You
like,
get to enjoy the car.
And I love what I do for a living, like installing and especially doing cars that you don't get all the time that don't have patterns. Expel makes all of our film that we use in the house. And personal opinion, everyone has their own opinion on the brands, but they were kind of the innovators on self-healing technology. The customer service and like my reps there are kind of what have kept me. I've had my ups and downs in industry, but if it wasn't for how awesome the reps were, wouldn't be here. So shout out to them. But they have a software, and when you get newer cars, you go in, you select your software, what kind of car, what trim level, what year, and it pretty much narrows it down to what you need. The installer, you know, the patterns are never exactly perfect, but they get pretty damn close. They have the best software in the industry, but you still have to use your skill to get it on there. There's so many different, I mean, I could talk forever about the different variables of how, you know, whatever, installing it, but it's, you know, that question where, what's the coolest car you worked on? I usually tell people, what do you like? Like what genre of the car industry do you like?
What would you like to work on? You know,
right? Like
you pick your folder of your favorite car. What's your favorite car? Oh, I like Lamborghinis. Okay, which one of the Lamborghinis was the coolest?
Right, you have to go through. Yeah, so Lamborghinis. I've probably, and I'll go out on a limb and say this in Missouri or in the Midwest, I'd put money on that I've done more Lamborghini SVJs than anyone in the Midwest. I've done 4 full body wraps on the SVJs. We had a gray one. We did a stealth wrap on, changed it to a matte gray, powder coated the wheels and everything.
Dude, that stealth wrap. I saw it on that blue. Was it Audi? That dark midnight blue,
midnight metallic blue.
Oh my god! And then they did the stealth on top of it. Is that gorgeous? Like, why would you ever do matte paint when that's even an option?
Oh yeah, for the money you're spending,
messed up my matte paint. Have to go get the whole car repainted.
Yeah,
messed up my matte PPF. Just take it back to the guy. Fixes that one spot done. Can you self heal that, or does it shine out?
No, you can't. So the film will self heal on its own from like slight scratches and stuff. But yeah, if you try and polish on the stealth, it'll put a gloss in it, and you'll have to replace that panel. But
still,
you just replace the panel. You don't have to repaint the whole car.
And you get
correct. And if you get an accident, they just pull off the panel and then they pull off the blend panel, and then they can paint it all back to factory color, and then you just put the stealth back on. And then when you want to sell it, if that customer doesn't like it, they just take it off. It opens up your market if you want to resell your car too.
Thing,
I think it's awesome.
And it protects the paint the entire time you own it.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. That's so badass.
Cool.
So
check it out. Call your local reps.
Call your local reps. That's right.
So we've got you on here not just to talk about PPF and stuff. We just I think it's a neat backstory. It's a very interesting line of work.
Yeah, I mean, sorry to listeners if we drug on a little bit with that.
It's just passionate
about something.
Yeah,
it's a cool technology.
It is, and the more you learn about it, the more it's mind blowing. But so we do have here on the old notes page, we've got some stuff that we need to talk about that does relate back to the old off-road world.
Right.
Yeah.
Back in the early 2000s.
Oh boy, that's a couple days back, right? So tell us a little bit about so let's start this off easy, I guess. Let's start it off. We talked about earlier in the show how we all kind of met with the old full-size Chevy meets, and we start going to meets and whatnot. The first time you ever showed up to one of those, what were you
2010?
in?
1994 Chevy Blazer, 2-door. Full size, none of this S10 junk. Sorry for this 10 guys.
Sorry, don't want to offend you, but
right. I mean, if your shit's solid axle swap on tons or something, that's dope.
We will accept you.
Right, but no, full size Blazer, kind of basic stuff. It had block crank, all the basic stuff that everybody does when they have
Body
IFS
lift and
ship.
33s.
Right. Well, we would have done the
Yeah,
body
boy.
lift. Aside from we broke 2 body line bolts the first time we attempted it. I'm like, okay, we're done.
We're
Straight
done
beer.
with that. We're done with
Right.
that. Yep. So was that what in the list of Blazers? There's numbers. We have numbered Blazers here on the show notes. Which one was that?
That was the first one. I've had 2, and I had 1 Tahoe. All red, all 2 doors.
I see a trend here. There's a trend.
Right, and then after that, I fucked up and started buying all black vehicles.
I with you on the black vehicle thing, so I get it.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yep, it's horrible.
I mean,
I had 2. I don't have any more, so that proves your point, I guess.
right,
Exactly. But you keep buying them. I don't know why I keep buying them. I keep do.
Oh, I love them.
So that's the first one you showed up with, and then where'd we go in your life of Blazers?
Well, the first one I think I had before that, before we met up, and then the second one I bought one owner, old lady driven, and this is like, I know everyone claims, oh god, one owner, you know, the old lady, blah blah blah, only drove it to church. Honest to God, the guy that I bought it from, I was dealing with, he said, this is my wife's truck. I bought her a brand new Yukon. She has not driven it in like 6 months. They've had it for like 7 or 8. She likes the Blazer. He's like, I need to sell it so she can drive the brand new vehicle I'm paying on.
Yep.
She literally drove it to play bridge, church, grocery store, and then, you know, maybe the occasional other trip to do whatever. But I got it with 99,000 miles on it in like 07, and it was blatantly obvious that she only drove it short trips, because as soon as I started driving at long distances, it was like intake gasket, all new hoses, like, everything needed to be gone through.
Leaks.
Yeah, so, but that truck was cherry. It was shiny, no rust, no oxidation.
We'll be throwing
It
some
was
pictures
great.
because we were checking out some pictures before we started this.
Yeah, reminiscing.
And there was some neat old pictures that you either kind of forgot about or we hadn't seen before that were pretty neat.
Forgot about for sure. So
wanted to forget about a couple maybe.
Maybe there was an awkward stage from where you go from like super clean stock to like, I don't know, you teenager with braces and pimples. It's like that awkward stage where you have no lift and you're starting the blackout process on your chrome.
You're not
and then
proud of some things you
Casey's
do.
on the bumper and a roof rack, and it's just like bone stock otherwise, and a black grill with all chrome wheels and
You
stuff.
were
It's
so
just
cool in the
hideous.
day.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know what? Everything's got to go through its stages.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
But it turned out pretty cool. We had ended up with I don't know, was it 315 75s got from Mike, and I don't know, it was looking cool. You modified a winch bumper that we drove to like literally middle of nowhere, like
I feel like there's a pattern here.
Yep.
Why has everybody bought tires from Mike?
That's total off-road podcast trends. We've had like 2 guests now on 5 episodes, and everybody's bought a set of tires.
Both of them have bought
Well, it's
from.
because Mike can't make up his fucking mind, and Mike likes to spend money. So
Only on tires. Yeah.
By the way, Mike's here.
Yep.
right, hey Mike,
Yeah.
Mike in studio.
I never said that.
Hey
Mike,
guys.
I never said that Mike So Funny wasn't here, so I mean nobody knew.
Nobody knew.
Right.
We're just gonna talk shit about him, but it's better because we're talking shit to him now.
Quick interlude.
Yeah.
Yeah, talk shit about me because I don't have a microphone.
We can do that.
So back to the shit talking.
Short note on that. Mike So Funny, super producer Mike So Funny wasn't here. Super producer. You gotta throw that. Has to be.
He's upper management. He can come and go as he wants to.
But he was off aligning Shane's Yukon.
Oh,
We'll
yeah.
get into that later. But
We'll
that's
get
where
to that.
that's where the super producer is at. But he's here now,
I'm very thankful for our super producer.
making sure we don't mess up.
So what happened to this? So we got the super clean. It ended up getting we did some winch bumper stuff. I think you came up one
Winch
time
bumper,
and we bent some tube for the bumper.
Yeah, I had an awesome idea for you get a lot of the stinger bars on some of these trucks where you look at them from the front and they have the angry eyes. So I came with an idea. Literally, we went out drinking all night on Saturday. Had to leave at like 9 in the morning on Sunday. We roll back up. I'm driving Ian's truck, pull into the driveway at like probably 5 in the morning. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess next time I come out, we'll do the bumper. And he was like, nope, start right now.
True story.
From drinking heavily to sleep on the 30-minute drive home, and then woke up after like a 30-minute nap. He's like, get this knocked out. Starting to like, the clouds are, it's about to rain.
It was raining.
It was raining? Okay, so he knows the truck in the
boy.
garage.
Do you
I'm
remember
like,
when you had that
okay.
kind of ambition?
Yeah, I
Man.
need to get some of that back.
Yeah.
See, I burn it all up on everybody else's shit. And now here I am with a half-ass
Don't-
finished buggy.
The dude built a truggy in like I don't know.
4 years.
Well, he's had like 5 vehicles, so I mean,
that's
you
the
can't.
thing. They come and they go. This one's stuck around
come,
for
they
some
go.
reason, probably because it doesn't move on its
He
own.
started more
I really
projects than
do.
any of us have had, so I mean,
The key is the start there. We've nailed the word of start. Yes.
right now if you could just
But
finish one,
I
that'd
do
be awesome.
remember because we nailed. So yeah, we were slinging tube.
You
and
were slinging
you-
too. I went to sleep.
I
I'm
was
like, I'm
tunnel
getting
vision.
some rest. I got to drive 3 hours home. I went to sleep,
was-
woke back up at 8, came out. You were setting the last weld, and you're like, all right, I guess we'll throw some paint on
threw
this.
some
And
paint.
I'm like, holy shit! Like
We redneck
you were up
powder
all
coated
night
that.
welding this
Yep.
thing up in the dark with just the one car
So-
garage light
Yep.
on.
It got eyeballed. Like,
Yeah.
hold the
It
pipe.
got eyeballed to where like I'm measuring it and it's like dead the fuck
Because
on.
we were very specific. It was very specific on when that bar came up and back down
Yeah.
that we wanted to clip just enough of the headlight to not block the bulb.
the high beams or the low, and it's just the top corner to where it gave it a little.
And the worst part about that front end is it's so square and symmetrical that you can't. I mean, if it's round, you had a
Don't mess
little,
it up.
wiggle room. Yeah, you looked at that
You have
square,
lines.
and there are so many square symmetrical lines that it had to be dead nuts
You
on.
nailed it.
It was nice, and we painted it, and it's like I'm painting it as he's backing out the driveway, kind of a thing, and drove
Right.
it.
I looked it over and I'm like, because it's starting to drizzle at this point,
Yep.
so we're spray canning it with drizzle.
Yep.
Dropping
That's how you do it officially.
We had to. We
Right.
were on a time schedule.
So then I just floored it on the way home to air dry. What
Air
was there.
dried it out.
Perfect.
Right.
Looked great.
It did.
And then what happened?
Oh well, I mean, as soon as I got it pretty much where we needed it, drove it to work one day. Came back to the shop after being gone for a few hours, and I'm like, "Where's my truck?" Started calling the guys at the shop. I'm like, "Did you move my
It was-
truck?"
Seriously, is that close?
It was
Yeah.
in the
Paint wasn't even dry on the bumper.
I mean, it wasn't the day that I got back, but it was like a couple months afterwards.
I thought you was like,
no,
sorry.
it wasn't like the next
No.
day. No.
But
it was
yeah, I
pretty
drove
quick
that-
to it because there was not very many pictures of that bumper.
Like a handful.
The only time I saw it in the daylight was you driving away, so you couldn't even like stand back and go, "Hell yeah, let me admire this work," because you
Right.
didn't have time. You had to leave.
Sorry, I interrupted that. Go ahead.
No, you're good.
Yep, you came to work.
Yeah, I called the guys at the shop. I'm like, "Did you move my truck? Are you screwing with me?" He's like, "Oh." He's like, "I'm like, somebody stole my truck." And he was like, "Stop fucking with me." He's like, "You're fucking with me." I'm like, no, I'm hanging up. Bye. Someone stole my shit." And sure enough, we checked the cameras. Two guys rolled in with a stolen car, pried the door open, broke the steering column open, started it up, drove it away. I guess they thought it was hot shit. I mean, it was just a clapped out 350, but
Yeah.
with long tubes and some custom exhaust that Ian rigged up. There used to be a exhaust stack.
That was a good. Well, that was we were talking about this on your drive down here on the kind of game plan, and I feel like you stopped. I don't even know how many shops you stopped at, but like you stopped at like every exhaust. It's almost like you pulled off the interstate.
I think I went to
every
4
exit
shops.
to get all the exhaust pipe adapters.
Right, I drove the opposite direction before so I went away from your house, away from my house, probably 20 miles to get adapters for this because it went from.
You started with the stack. We had the stack.
We had the 5-inch turned down
we
like
were
bull hauler
determined we were
stack.
gonna put that. We did start this with we did some dumb shit back in the day. We did some stuff that was.
Let's go run it down. So you had Headman shorties, off-road wide pipe, and then the 3-inch pipe went to an SLP loudmouth 1 resonator. We flared the ends of it, put a 3.5 to 4-inch adapter on that, and then we put a 4-inch adapter to 5-inch adapter on that, and then we had the 5-inch bull hauler stack laid on its side, dumped right before the axle on a short
What?
2-door
in
truck.
the
Yeah.
Fuck.
It
There's
couldn't
pictures.
have been more obnoxious, and also we must find the photo of
There-
that. and
there
post
are
it.
pictures.
Actually, I have
There is
there's a
photo.
video on YouTube still. If you literally type in
Seriously?
Shane's Blazer, it's like the second video. It's me coming down the street
You can
after we
hear him
welded it up.
before you can
Just
see
gotta
him
go ahead
down the
and look at
block,
that
and
to
then he just
verify that link.
Yeah.
So we did that.
Shane's
but that's
Blazer.
probably. I mean, especially when, if they saw it driving gears, you're not. You're not a
456s and
Lightfoot
worn out
driver.
33 is like
Yeah.
it moved okay. I mean, it wasn't
It
quick
looked
by
good,
any means.
but I mean, to somebody that doesn't really know their shit, I
Right.
mean,
We found it.
From Brendan.
I think squeaky.
Oh,
I
there
don't
it
know
is.
what
Oh,
he
sorry.
posted it.
It's the fourth video down now.
Oh, sorry.
You're losing
We'll
ground.
have to,
Damn, losing ground.
We'll have to tag that in
do I
the.
totally want to just play this right
You don't
into
want
the
to
mic?
play it right now. No,
Not into the
it's,
mic?
no, it's bad.
You know,
You're gonna want to listen to that on your own time,
Right.
and we'll link it so you can because it's that good, but it's that bad you don't want to hear it on your car speakers or your headphones right now.
Right. Yeah.
It
You need
has
to put a
6
disclaimer like, beep,
Yeah.
attention all headphone users.
Turn volume down now. They're
Yeah.
about to do loud things.
but he's right. If you look up Shane's Blazer,
yes.
it's the fourth video down on YouTube.
Well,
is
so
awesome.
at time it's got 611 views at time of recording, and it's
Let's
So
see what
it's
it goes up
two
to.
part.
It's 9
so
years
there's that
old.
one. If you, that's the end. That's the
the
end.
end.
Of the video. You
Oh,
gotta
here's
scroll
the
down
other
to
one.
like the
Shane-
seventh one,
Shane's
and that's
Blazer exhaust.
Shane's Blazer's exhaust is the clip you should click on. It only has 359 views.
We'll bump
People
it.
get suckered into clicking on that first one. It's
Yep.
literally me making a U-turn.
It's not as good as the full pull down like 3 city blocks going by the house.
Yeah.
Definitely worth a watch.
I'm watching
so
that in a
we
minute.
got the epic exhaust. It's cool. It gets stolen. What happens then?
Well, they find it. Talk to the detective. I know the guy. I've wrapped his car before. I'm like, give me the details on where and what was up with it. And reluctantly gave me the information. I'm like, I'm not driving to, go by and do my own investigating here. But they found the truck sitting on the brakes, no bumpers, no roof rack, no stair, had a full sound system in it. All that was gone. Took the engine out. Just sitting on the brakes. The new wheels and tires I just bought for Mike gone. That bumper you made gone. So it's, I don't know. They found it. It's pretty much, it was probably the cleanest vehicle strip I've seen. They undid all the connectors. The only thing under the hood
that was
was
the part
messed
that
up
blew my mind. Who
Right.
who steals somebody's shit,
They
strips it, and
stole it
unplugs it?
because they wanted to put it in whatever they had.
That's what makes us think and believe that honestly they thought the engine was hopped up. Because
Right.
why would you unplug this shit? You were going to use that engine,
But,
yeah.
and it's a damn.
The
small
only thing they
block,
cut
so-
was the
It's
heater hose.
TBI.
Yeah, but they don't know. They don't know.
Who
They ain't going to
knows, man?
sit there and check
The
it
only
out
thing
on
they cut
the
was the
hood.
heater hose.
The only thing they cut was a heater hose. They unbolted the radiator and took that out. The only thing the engine that truck is missing is the complete engine and the radiator. If I put a new TBI 350 in there, I could drive the truck.
Wow.
Can you imagine the disappointment on these thieves when they put this like supposed
Yes.
hot motor and whatever?
And it was slower.
It's a clapped out 200,000 mile TBI 350 with
That's
like
what
3
you get.
It was
horsepower.
only 189,000, but
Yeah.
I wore the piss out of that.
It had a
motherfucker.
hard. Those were rental miles, if anything. But
Yeah.
yeah, hey, that's what you get. Don't steal people's shit.
Yep.
Right.
Go
Man,
buy
that
your own
sucks.
shit.
You feel so violated when somebody does that to you.
Oh, I couldn't even
Yeah.
imagine.
Oh, it was. It freaked me out a little bit. My wife was like, "Holy crap!" Like I had paycheck stubs in the glove box. Like they knew how much I
man.
made. They had
Yeah.
my address, and so it's like
That's the
that
stuff
was.
you don't
Yeah,
think
we ended
about.
up getting a
Yep.
alarm for the house, and you just kind of
You feel violated.
yeah.
They
That's
might
just
want
it.
to come back and
They can come back and get this hot
displeasure.
lead through the forehead.
They're going to give
You
their
were
upset about this.
afraid they're going to bring
350.
all of it back and put it in the driveway.
Yeah. Take your TBI shit back.
I would have been
and we
like,
do not
"Dope, I want
want
to put this engine back in
Yes.
and keep driving this every day because that was my daily."
We would have came down and helped you with that. That would have been an
So,
awesome moment.
When
but-
that happened and you lost your daily, what was the replacement?
Well, I was driving our company HHR got panel, God help me, and then the
That's a
insurance
little
company.
car for you. Huh?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. And the insurance company drug it out for 2 months to pay me because they were trying to make it to where, he set up his vehicle to get stolen. I'm like,
yeah.
bro, it wasn't me.
Wasn't me.
Set
Long
that up real
story,
good.
yeah.
All that so you could pay me $4,500.
Yeah.
No, they said after you buy it back, we'll give you $1,800. I'm like, what am I
Oh.
going to buy? A shell?
Yeah.
Jesus.
So they were like, well, if you can prove it's worth more, I'm like, okay, give me an email. I'll prove you wrong.
Yep.
Yep.
Ended up paying me $6,600 for it.
That's a start.
After I bought it back.
That's better.
That's a lot better.
Like that's the thing. Like, I mean, insurance companies they do this. That's their thing.
That's
what
the
they
job.
do.
Right.
It's like buying
Yeah.
and selling a vehicle. You're
Right.
not going to walk
Yeah.
in and pay top dollar.
Top
You're
dollar.
going to try to get a deal for
Right.
it.
But
That's
at the
how
same time,
insurance
like
works.
the way I'm like, okay, so, and we had this with the wife when she was getting ready to get her payment for hers, and I was like, if they offer you X amount of dollars for that, and granted it was an old car, like if they don't offer you X amount of dollars for that, you tell them no and
Yeah.
have them call me.
You
I'm
can,
gonna tell them.
you can negotiate that. Yep.
I'm gonna tell them how I've been a customer with them for 15, 20 years. With how X amount of I got a ton of vehicles. Like let me just add that up for the last 15 years. How much I paid you? I think you
Right.
can give me more than a couple grand.
Yep.
Like, and never had an accident. Never had a
So-
claim.
So you end up buying it back. So you bought it back?
Bought it back. Bought a 5.3 Texas Speed cam kit, long tubes,
Yeah.
ton of shit. And then I sold it all and bought an 03 Yukon. Because I said to myself, man, I'm still driving this HHR panel. I don't have time to build a truck in a weekend,
Yes.
so let me just tuck my my two-door down at my uncle's house. Got some property. His dad's got a 66 Riviera just
Rest in
rotting
peace.
away in the woods.
R.I.P.
So I figured, let's just, hey, you got space next to your other rotting car. Let me just put that Blazer down there.
We'll just put it down there for a couple months while
It's
I get
getting
things
some
squared
nice
away.
18 on it.
I
though.
told him it'll be there for no more than 1 year. He said, okay, this is about 6 years ago.
If it makes you feel better, I told Mike that my Jeep will be at his place for a weekend.
How many months was that?
It's been about 45 days.
Okay, you were sub 2 months. That's not bad.
We're not even close to done.
We're still racking up
It
storage
was there
fees.
now.
at this
To
point,
reharness
yes.
it.
We'll touch on that at the end of the podcast.
Yep.
So yeah, I got my Yukon 03 SLT all-time all-wheel drive. You know, honestly, my wife's like, let's go look at it because it was right at the dealership down the street. 70,000 miles. It was fairly clean. It had oxidation on the hood and the roof, but I'm like, she's like, let's go drive it. I'm like, man, I really hate how these look. Why would I buy this? And I don't know. It started to grow me a little bit. He was like, you want to go through the, salesman's like, oh, let's get you in finance. And I was like, nah, this thing's ugly. I'm like, would you drive it? Look, it's missing paint on the fucking roof and the hood. Like, are you going to drive this thing?
Seriously.
I'm like, don't tell me yeah, because I know you're lying.
You're lying.
And he was like, well, what if we have it fixed? And I'm like, if you repaint the roof and the hood and fix a bunch of stuff that's wrong with it.
Oh, God,
then,
it was ugly.
Right. It had
Wheels.
the vent deflector above the sunroof.
Who
And
just handed me a phone that went through Instagram? and
I
found
was
this?
mind blown when I got the picture that you were looking at. Maybe you had just bought it or something when you. But man, I was like, what the hell?
Oh
Like,
my God!
was-
It's the
it's
transformation.
odd.
How
It
old
was
was this
gross.
post?
I love it.
You guys go check out Shane.nos. Get on his
We
page.
need to post this transformation because
Oh my
that
God.
it's
night
epic.
and day.
yeah.
Not even that. Not
Like-
even.
And
And there's still more
not
to go
even.
on what I'm doing to it.
Yeah.
So it's
Dude. Yeah,
pretty
now
different.
you're really getting hot and heavy in it.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that. But Mike just handed me a phone here, and it has his Instagram pulled up, and it's a post from December 16th of 2019. So you can just scroll not too far back and find it, and it's a transformation photo, and it is
Impressive.
epic.
So what do you got done to it?
Back to
Because you've obviously done a couple things to it since
right.
then, right?
lowered 4.6. Exhaust. Just I have the long tubes and off-road Y pipe, so that's still coming. I have a whole like half of my garage of parts. But currently, yeah, just the 4.6 drop. We've got helper bags in the back. Catback exhaust, center exit exhaust. We get my buddy across the street from me. He's trying to get into fabricating. He's like, oh, I'll fab you up some stuff. Let's practice. I'm like, oh yeah.
here.
You
do
got
this
40
exhaust.
hours on all these fab projects. The first fab project I gave him, and we did a 3-inch to split 4-inch dual pie cut stainless turndowns, center exit exhaust on the truck.
It's awesome.
And
It
he's
fits
like,
it so well.
It looks awesome.
Like you see it from the back, you're like, oh, that's kind of cool.
I'm like, what do you want for this? He was like, I don't know. I'm not super happy. He goes, one of the pie cuts, the last pie cut is literally off by like a degree. He's like, I'm not super happy with it. He's like, you just have it. I'm like, here's $20 and a 12 pack of PBR. He was
Is it
like,
stainless?
yeah,
Yeah, hell yeah. And he's like, oh, here, I have it
That's
for free.
stainless?
stainless.
Take that off and bring it to me.
Can you polish it all
God,
up
yes.
real good?
Oh
Okay.
yeah. Can you imagine how good that looks?
It's welded on, so why
it's
don't
all
you
It
just
is
polish that
welded
off?
on.
each pie cut is tigged together, so it looks like it's a
Yep.
fabricated tailpipe.
It's beautiful. Center exit
It
right
looks
in the rear.
good like
Wait.
it is, but it would look really good all polished.
And I have to get with him next week. We're doing a stainless pie cut cold air intake. Mm-hmm. So that'll be the next one. That'll be super cool. I'm going to
Yeah.
smooth out the intake cover and probably wrap that the same. Oh yeah, the truck's got a wrap on it. I blacked out all the chrome, the bumpers and the grill were all chrome. It's all black. Now
It's
it has
got
a
some lights on it.
custom
too.
color change graphic.
Yep.
Oh
It's
yeah,
going to cost you extra money, but do yourself a favor and find. Have you already got the pipe for the intake? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Well, he has all this. It's 4-inch stainless. He has, and then I bought all the pie cuts from Stainless Brothers.
Oh, I was gonna say it'd be cool if you bought it all already polished.
It's pretty shiny, but it could
Yeah.
use a polish.
We know
but-
a guy.
Yeah, it's not full shiny. Yeah,
Know a guy that touch it up.
fully polished and then take it all together. Well, the thing is, if you polish it first and then take it all after that,
You won't take the color out when you polish it.
you get all that beautiful
Yeah.
color.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And his fabrication skills from when he did that tailpipe like a year and a half ago to now
Oh,
is so much better. He's
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm still not perfect. I'm like, bro.
is it 10,000 hours?
Yeah.
Is it 10,000 hours?
Oh shit! Don't roll over here again. He was joking.
Yeah,
He rolled his eyes though. He did.
he's doing
Matt
doing
hated
good
it.
stuff. He full time at Boeing, and then he literally just fabs and he's building his F body in his spare time. But he's working. He does awesome work. Can't wait to keep doing more stuff on this. I mean, the truck's it's got a full sound system. All I have left is put a amp on all my highs and my mids. All the Hertz door speakers. I got MB Court 4-channel for the doors, Kenwood, in-dash, backup camera,
It
JL audio
sounds
subs.
damn nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can go through the list. The truck is not for everybody, and that's kind of the point. I'm a little outside the box. I like different things.
Yep.
I had a buddy who was working on my truck at the Jaguar dealership. He was doing. I think he did. He did. I don't know what he did on it. I think the wheel bearings in the front. One day, I dropped it off before I went to work. Came back, and he had it done. He's like, oh yeah, a lot of the techs are ragging on your truck, and I'm like, good. I didn't build that fucker for
I
them.
didn't build it to make
I'm
them
like,
happy.
if I built it for everybody to, every Joe Schmo to like it, I would have triple blacked it and left it stock height with like 22s, and then it
Yep.
would have been
Perfect.
generic
Yep.
all black block. Like, what fun is that? So,
Timeless.
It is a awesome truck. I mean, I love it. Every time I talked about it to somebody or show them a picture, and then I don't think they get it until they see a picture. They go, oh, and then there's some that like, oh, I'm like, yep. That's
yeah.
why you and I aren't friends.
Right.
Those
Well,
that get it are
I
like,
feel like I get a lot
yeah,
more people who are like, I don't know what to think about that, and that's fine.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm going down a different path, and that's kind of my thing. When I started putting that truck together, I was like, I didn't see any Yukons online that I was like, this is like
The one.
awesome.
I want
This is
to
great.
build that one. I want to build what somebody else has done. Yep.
Right, and short of the only thing that I probably won't do that I would really like to do is that, I don't know what a better way to describe it. People hate when you say it, a cat eye Chevy front end on it.
Yep.
I really like that front end on the
Yes.
Yukons. A lot of people do, but I think it just makes it look fucking tough.
Oh, it does.
Yep.
It
And,
changes the look of it completely.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing about the GMC front end is it's soft.
Yeah.
It doesn't have an aggressive sharp line edge, stuff like that. But yeah.
Yeah, and then
the cat-
we're actually adding a splitter to the front. I have the lower chin spoiler below the valance, and then we're getting a splitter as well. Working on a rear diffuser, stuff you don't see on trucks, especially not on an SUV.
brick.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that kind of goes into the style and everything I'm going for.
It fits
But
the truck. It's going to look so badass
It's gonna look
with
good,
the
yeah.
underglows and stuff. Yeah.
It's too bad that you didn't tell me.
I've got undergo and wheel lights in there.
Yeah.
But it's and I've also got cam, built trans, big converter, 2-step, long tubes, E-fans,
Awesomeness.
all the
All the
training bearing
awesomeness.
upgrade, the valve springs, everything just sitting on a table waiting to go in. It's it's gonna be
It's gonna be awesome.
yeah. We're doing Hot Rod Power Tour this year too.
So that kind of brings us to the what's next section with the Hot Rod Power Tour. So we have talked about this a little bit. What's the plan for that this year?
Ian and I and my buddy Nick from Cali doing Power Tour this year. That's why I'm trying to get as many projects on the truck done as possible. That way we're ready to rock and roll. That's going to be a hell of a time.
It's gonna be a
Dayton,
good time, yeah.
Ohio, down to Indy, over to St. Louis, back up to Champaign, home of the podcast.
Yep.
And then I think from there, Newton, Iowa, or Des Moines, I should say, and then all the way to Madison, Wisconsin. So it's going to be a hell of a trip and a lot more comfy than the last time I did this.
Yep.
We did it in
you're not
Trans
there.
Am
Yeah, I
in
was gonna say this
2010.
isn't your first time doing the long haul.
Right, 10-year anniversary when I went last time, but riding the Yukon, it should be a little more cush driving the.
We're gonna have AC. Hopefully the AC keeps working.
Oh yeah. I plan on having that fully serviced before we go.
Nice
So,
and fresh and cool.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Sweet. Yeah, it's going to be a good time. I can't wait. It's going to be kind of neat too because we're going through some towns that we have, people that live in that we know we can hang out. So it'll be kind of a neat to be like, yo, we're doing this thing and let's hang out with some people we know in the process too. So it'll be kind of fun.
Ian, what important lesson did we learn last time Shane did the power tour?
Well, there's a couple. The the biggest memory I take away from the last time we did this power tour, we met up with you and Hack over, and I don't know where we met him up.
Springfield.
Was it in Springfield? So we went over, we went and hung out. I was in my 97 half ton that we've talked about that we used to wheel. So you kind of gives you an idea. It's not a damn street truck. Whereas in that, you had your Trailblazer SS at the time, right?
It was still bone stock.
Was it
then.
stock? Okay.
Bone stock.
I just remember the best memory with that side tangent was being sideways on a dry entrance ramp to the interstate in a damn Trailblazer SS.
With all-wheel drive.
I was going to say, is that all-wheel drive?
And it was sideways on the entrance ramp, dry. Like, yeah, it had some ponies.
Get you some.
But so it was stock then.
It was still stock.
Okay. So I don't know what his Trans Am had.
It was just intake and exhaust. And that's
Okay.
it.
So again, we're not talking about high horsepower shit here, but my truck, neither are we. So we get on, I think we got on interstate. We're going to go get some dinner. These two line up. Have a nice day. See you later. I'm like, I don't even know how old I was at the time. Old enough to not know better. I'm like, I'm going to keep up with my pickup. Fuck. I think I caught up to them.
Well.
They're done with dinner. Dessert was served by the time I got to the restaurant. And I just I'm sitting there and I think somebody was riding with me. I'm like, what was shit I don't. That wasn't even a race. That wasn't even a race. They were gone. And yeah, that's all I remember from that. So I don't know if that's where you're going.
That's exactly where I was going.
That's what I remember. It was like, we're going to race our pickup. Yeah, no, there wasn't even. Hell, I'd have had better luck going backwards. It was bad.
It was Vortec versus Vortec. I mean,
Oh, it was.
almost the
Yeah,
same
see,
thing.
I'm like, I got the same engine. We're good.
I mean, yeah, we had it was a what was your truck? A 97,
It was a
98?
97.
So 255 horse Vortec with some miles on it.
255.
It went
Yeah.
to 255 in 97.
Giving
Yeah.
it all
I
of
think
the
those
extras.
were inflated numbers.
Inflated
Probably.
numbers, yeah. It's
Oh, fake
it's
news.
255 at the fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once you go through the engine to the flywheel, it was less.
Yeah. It was fun. I remember it. I mean, hell, what was that, 10 years ago?
That was
Yeah.
2010.
10 years ago.
Yep, good
What's
times.
the TVSS make?
It was a stock LS2. Trailblazer SS made a little less horsepower than it did in a Corvette, so it was 390 and 400 pound-feet of torque.
It had. I
They're
mean,
always a good time.
It sounds closer number to number, but I'm
Does it
telling
now?
you, in a full size pickup
Almost
versus
double.
a Trailblazer SS, we don't even talk about the Trans Am because that cheating. But yeah, it's bad.
I think the Trans Am actually has less horsepower.
You guys
it did. It had a lot
so
less.
you
I mean,
guys
sticker anyway.
later on in the power tour that year, we ended up going from I think we were in Chattanooga, and we decided, hey, screw it. They had, if you bring in any E3 product, you got a dyno pull, one dyno pull for
Nice.
free. We went and bought a $3 lawnmower spark plug.
Yes.
Gave the guy the spark plug, and he goes, okay,
No.
let's strap that bitch on the dyno.
Wow.
I'm like, okay.
Wow.
We made one pull, and it was like 270 at the wheels, and I was like, he's like, that's pretty depressing. And the guy on the dyno was like, you mind if I take your intake off? And he took the MAF off.
This on the Yukon?
grabs on no, this is on the Trans Am.
Oh, the Trans Am, okay.
He took the MAF sensor off, grabbed his MAF sensor cleaner, sprayed the shit out of that, put it back on the dyno, 301 at the wheels.
Wow.
From cleaning the MAF off. I'm
So
like,
he was
holy
handicapped
shit.
in our drag race too.
Yeah,
that's even more.
30
that's even
wheel
more,
horsepower
yeah.
from cleaning the MAF. Clean your MAFs, ladies and gentlemen. That's instant
Lesson
power.
learned.
I was shocked.
Wow.
I
What's
couldn't believe
funny is it brings me another side tangent that you and I are about. I feel like you're the instigator. We've also
Probably.
unofficially raced. This was back when you had your Corvette, and it was a 2012 half ton, and we decided to drag race those too. That wasn't as bad. I don't think it was as bad, but it was
Wait.
still shameful.
Are you talking about when we were in the rain and Matt was? Oh no, that was who had
That was TD's Yukon.
Right, that brings us to that'll
That's
be another
another-
episode.
that's
That's the
another
slowest
drag
drag
race.
race
You
ever.
raced somebody's Duramax, and you were getting pissed because it was wet and they were blowing smoke on the Corvette.
Yeah, it wasn't that was going on the Corvette. It's that it was Adam Barron in his LBZ, rest in peace truck.
Yep.
Rest in peace, truck.
R.I.P.
He thought it would be really funny that when we were rolling down Vermilion Street in Danville, Illinois, with the windows down and the top off on the car, just to get next to me and light it up, like cover me in coal.
It is funny until
In
it's your car.
Sure looked good from the driver's
Yeah,
seat.
it looked good from back there where I was looking, but yeah, seemingly we always end up racing. Why do you always have a faster car than me, but I still want to race you in my
He works for the
pickup?
government.
The
He got
government.
that government money.
Government
dollars. Right on. So where are we at with Loki? Let's get a little update with Loki.
Loki is still sitting where it was last episode.
Yep. But we have
But,
plans. We have a game plan.
We do have a game plan. So I'm gonna run off to the local U-Pull, try to find a harness that will suit.
Yep. Engine harness, right?
Yeah, engine harness.
Yep.
I'm guessing. So I've looked at their inventory. They don't have a 95. I don't know if I can use the 91 because I don't know what the specs are on it.
Okay.
So I got to run over and check that out.
Worst case scenario, you can just get a plug. Hopefully.
Yeah. Worst case scenario, I find one that has the same pins in the plug.
Yep.
And I just snag the wire I need, and then I clip it 3 inches up and
Have
solder it
you
in.
looked into just replacing
No.
the
I mean,
entire
yes.
bulkhead connector with like a new style sealed
So
bulkhead?
that's part of what I was thinking about doing.
Not that it's cheaper. It may not be
No,
cheaper, but it's
here's
probably
the thing.
better to
What if
prevent it.
The vehicles didn't change a lot from 95 to 2001.
Yep.
They didn't change the body or anything.
Yep.
I'm wondering if I can't snag the entire bulkhead connector and fuse panel from like a 98 or 99 or 2000.
So
whatever.
newer. Are those
Yeah,
sealed on the
don't
back
know.
side of the pin?
Ain't been out there to look at it yet. But I'm going to get out there and look at it.
Because obviously, if it's corroded once, it's going to do it again. So
Yeah.
I'd hate to,
I'm going to seal it this time if it's not sealed.
that would work.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then I found some connectors on eBay, which might be another option.
Yep.
But I checked with Painless. That's not a thing.
So they don't have. I think the last time we
Yeah.
talked about it on here, we were talking about
I
maybe
looked up
somebody
online.
has to make one.
I looked up online the forums from back in like 12 and 13. People were talking about it, and they were like, well, you can buy an engine harness from the dealership, but it costs more than the vehicle's worth. I was like, well,
You don't
it's
know how
kinda
much
worth it.
I've invested in this vehicle, then clearly.
Do you know how much this
Yeah.
paperweight costs?
This thing
Do you
is
have a
way
problem though? Can
overpriced.
you use a 96 or newer harness on
I don't
that?
know.
To say, because I feel like that's probably going to be a big
What?
potential. I mean,
Oh,
once
go find that.
OBD2, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, it would be a
that's-
whole
yeah.
different
I didn't even
connector.
think about
I was
that,
talking,
but
so I was talking to Matt
You're
on the
welcome.
phone, and I was telling Matt that I was like, maybe I can use a 96 and newer harness, and I can just swap the whole thing to OBD2. I'll change the fuse block underneath and the dash, whatever.
I feel like that's way too much.
Hold on, here comes
Not
Matt
really.
again.
I
Matt
kinda
rolled
rolled the
back
number.
over. He is
You
angry
do
now.
absolutely not want to do that.
Why not?
The
Juice
computer
it.
doesn't work that way.
Yeah, the juice isn't going to be worth the squeeze.
Okay, get back into that microphone there.
Come back over here and justify
What-
you
so
rolling
hold
across
on,
the
hold on.
room.
Let me give you a backstory real quick on an XJ. They didn't change anything. The engine is the same. The transmission is the same. Everything is the same in a 98.
Hold on, we
Here
have
comes
our
Michael.
local
My
tech.
So
God.
hopefully
house.
Michael can enlighten me that they put some sensors on that I don't know about.
Well, they definitely had to have added some sensors because
Like
it was just
what?
mandated. I'm not sure. I'm not going to try to figure
Camera
it out.
position sensor?
OBD2 had like hundreds of codes, whereas OBD1
Yes.
had like 12.
Yeah, right.
So the computer's completely different. It
Worthless.
doesn't even have the older computer doesn't even have the capability to produce those codes. So it's got to be a
Right.
100% different system. So to say that you're going to swap to OBD2, sure, if you got an ECM and all the wiring.
No, yeah, I would take everything from the vehicle.
Oh, everything.
Everything.
As long as the engine's the same.
Yeah, I would change everything. Yeah, if I
And
find a
coming up on next week, Steve will be building a tube buggy. And welcome to my life.
You would
folks.
need some new sensors, probably.
Yes,
though.
this is
I
how
will-
it works. It
yeah.
starts with one wire.
I figured, right?
Done.
Just one wire.
One wire, and now you're
And
building a tube buggy.
Does
This is
anybody have
how
an
this shit
LS
goes.
4L60E?
Hey, we can get you one.
So that's
man.
the thing. I'm gonna go out to the U-Pull. They got a few of those different vehicles out there, different ages, and I'm just gonna look and see what I can see.
See what we can come up with.
That's
Cool.
the first thing.
I ordered some parts the other day, and when I say parts, I literally mean a piece of aluminum plate to mount my radiator. But it's the last piece to mount the radiator, so I
Yeah.
just need to cut that, break that, weld it, and
I'm
then
excited
the
to see
radiator's
that done. I feel like that right there alone will give you some more motivation.
I just need to get back on it. That's my problem. I
So
haven't
we
touched
like
anything
after
on
this,
it,
we go out there to do it?
We're gonna go start on something. So, so that's what we're gonna get started back on the buggy
Cool.
here in the next day or two. Now that the damn studio's done for the 13th time and everything's lined out for the podcast. So,
Right. I stumbled
that's,
across something the other day, and I wanted to ask you about it.
Yep.
And it is Ballistic Fab's Shave 14 bolt kit.
I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, well, okay. Well, that's the end of this podcast.
I decided I don't want to talk about it because I built the Steer 14 for
Yep.
the front of the truck.
Listening.
I have the 14 bolt in the rear, and you know what I didn't do on either one of them?
Listening.
Shave the 14 bolts.
You know what?
You know why?
You know what, though?
I don't know. Ignorance.
But you know what, though?
You can do it later.
They're just bolted in.
Yeah, that's the thing. Their kit is, I believe their kit's the one that it's the least amount of fab work because it just bolts. Because it's built into the cover. And so you end up shaving. I don't know. It's been a while since I've researched it, but there's somebody, and it maybe there's that it's a lot easier than going through machining the bottom of the diff, welding a plate on, and then you have to get into machining your ring gears to clearance that shave.
For this kit or no?
No,
Okay.
I don't know specifically, but there's a kit that you gain like an extra, I don't know, 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, whatever, which we're talking
Gain
a
an
1/2 inch is a
additional-
1/2 inch on a 14 bolt
But no.
on top of somebody else's shave.
But
So
look at this. Gain an additional 2 inches of ground clearance.
Well, yeah, because the if you look at a 14 bolt, the flange
Right.
where the diff cover bolts on is like 1.5 inches, 2 inches tall, and it doesn't even need to be half of that.
So this is not the kit you're thinking of. It's less fab work. They have here additional options. Pre-turned ring and pinion set.
Yeah.
So they've already shaved it
Most
down.
have
for the
different
shaved
levels.
kit.
It's like level, I don't know, level 1 is
Uh-huh.
like you shave the
I want all of
14
it.
bolt
How
kind
do
of.
how do I shave the 14 bolt all the way to the
You
carrier?
need to go to a 13 bolt is what you got to do. You get a you
Oh,
shave
yeah.
that 14th bolt, and that's where you get your like couple inches of ground clearance.
That's what they did here.
It's a lot of work.
Well, that's what they did here. Is it shaves that, and then they got a whole new cover for it and everything.
I mean, the nice thing is I can pull the axles out and do it
Right.
later on, which is kind of probably why I didn't do it. But
I don't
ignorance, I
see-
should have done it originally.
I don't see why anybody wouldn't do this. And I don't know so if anybody's listening to this and they want to enlighten me, shoot me a message because I would like to know more about this shaving a 14
fab,
bolt because
yeah.
I'm planning at some point to go up to a 14
there's
bolt.
plenty of videos out there. It's just
I saw it on Instagram. I was just scrolling through and they had a video up and like the dude they cut it off there with like a bandsaw or whatever. And so it was like a perfect piece of the 14 bolts in there and he just kind of like knocked it off the top. And I was like,
it's so satisfying.
wow.
You're like, oh, it's gone. Cool.
Look how short it is. Yeah, and then I saw one underneath the vehicle. I was like, wow.
Yeah, I don't know.
So-
I'm gonna do it eventually. It's just one of those like I got a whole bunch of other shit that I need to do first.
Yeah.
But eventually, I'm just gonna ram that fucking diff over all kinds of stuff, and then when you get hung up on the diff, LS power,
LS power and
LS power.
stickies.
And stickies, and then next week we break drive shafts.
All right.
Don't be so
Well,
negative.
You guys can find us. You can find Shane at shane.noss. That's NOSS. And you can find Matt at Matt's Pictures. And you can find me at lowkeyxj. You can find Ian at offroad_Ian. You can find Mike at Mike's So Funny. Check out our YouTube channel, Total Offroad Podcast, our Total Offroad Podcast on Instagram. And we're going to get out of here. So we'll catch you guys on the trail.